So, I'm so dedicated to these Zoom classes that, I knew I'd be on the way to the airport. Uh, Still, I wanted to have class, but I don't have the book. And so I'll just kind of speak and maybe get a half hour, 45 minutes. Om Jnana Timarandasya Dhananjana Shalakaya Taksur Undalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurude Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Ishtam Stapitam Yena Tare Sayam Pradhamayam Dadanti Swam Dadantikam Vacha Kalpa Taru Yascha Vipas Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasa Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So greetings from Garden State Parkway. So I thought what I would do today is elaborate on two thoughts, one from my Tuesday tattva, maybe start one from the Monday morning readings that I'm writing, and then, say something about where we're up to in the Bhagavatamrita. So my Monday morning greetings is going to be called Karma or Krishna Lila. And when I was in Russia, wow, this one lady, I think she's the best kirtan here. Her name is Mother Gauri. And she was wife of one of the very big preachers there. She's kind of retired to Vrindavan, so I know her quite well. And when I visited Sochi, that's where the Winter Olympics were in Russia, but it's South Russia. I visited, they're not married now, but I visited her husband at that time. Yeah, she was there and she liked the classes, so she came and she did beautiful kirtan. And then she asked a question, which kind of may be more typical for the Russian psychology than the maybe New York psychology, but when something happens to us, is it karma or is it Krishna's Leela? The first thing I had to explain is that it's not the right question, because something can happen to you by Krishna, but it's not part of his Leela, his pleasure pastimes. So it's a question whether something happens to a devotee, is it karma or is it Krishna? Now, from the Brahma Samhita, it says, karmani, karmani, how do I forget this? Near the hati, chabakti vajam. The karmani, near the hati, chabakti vajam. Bhakti vajam, from the devotion service. The karmani, near the hati, the karma, the fruit of activities, near the hati, is completely, near the hati, it's completely burned. So then the question that at Rising, how to resolve that, is that a devotee get our astrological charts done, and it still kind of registers in the same way. I think I talked about this last night, right? it registers in the same way. And even, with Prabhupada, he talked about, after he was born, his chart said the age of 70 or something, he would open up many, many temples. So that seems karma, but the Shastra seems that it's Krishna. So the resolution, the reconciliation of 2 points that are absolutely correct, that, that devotee's karma, it seems to happen at the same time he's free from when he becomes a devotee. Of course, you can consider what level of devotee, but I don't even think it matters to that. What I understood is when I studied the law of karma, the karma is meant to bring you back to Krishna. I have like a kind of a theory. These are one of my own ideas that I never read in Shastra, that everyone has a perfect life. Because everyone gets the karma they need if they can respond in the perfect way to go back to God. It's just so geared. It's just so geared to what's in us to improve us. And we should also have that kind of, not only faith, we should have that vision experiencing our lives and seeing the things that happen to us, or at least some of them we can trace back clearly, to points of growth and gifts of realization that are invaluable in our vision of reality. I gave the analogy, it's like a crossword puzzle. We're looking at the world, but we don't have all the pieces. And the pieces are these different experiences we have that give us realization. And then we put it together. And when we put all the pieces together, we see God. So that's, yeah. And therefore, there are innumerable realizations we need. There are innumerable samskaras and attachments and visions and prejudices and so many things that cloud our vision. I give you an example, just death. You see it as the end of existence. You feel it as the end to see and realize that this is the transmigration of the soul and not the end of existence. That's just one example. But we should, in our lives, and look back in our experience of Krishna consciousness and actually feel that by my experiences in this world, with the help of the understanding and knowledge of the Shastra to digest and perceive them, my vision of reality has become clearer, and therefore my perception of God in the world is becoming clearer. Prabhupada was in the Indo-China War, and the bomb was coming, and they said, they interviewed him because at night it was a blackout. It was a blackout, so that the Pakistani planes came, they couldn't see any. Prabhupada said, what would you do if a bomb came? He said, I see Krishna. Hare Krishna. I see Krishna. Dhiras tatam bhuyate. It's sobriety and realization and vision. So, yeah. So, karma is really part of the process of self-realization, and it's particularly geared to our self-realization. So the idea I have is if we come under Krishna and Krishna accepts us, then he's going to say, okay, now this is my dear devotee, and how do I purify him? Why won't he sanction now that that karmic experience comes. And then we have the conception in the Shastras. There's a story of Mandaka Muni. Some thieves came and they were going to, cut off his head, or, and they just cut off his finger. And he said, what happened to me? And they both, your last life, you did this and you should have got this, but because you're a devotee, it's got less. So that other aspect that the karma is lessened is also very, the karma is lessened is very, a part of the philosophy too. So the question is how it's lessened. Because what karma does is give happiness and distress. So there's two ways you can remove the distress: take away the event, and take away your analysis and approach, and take away the ignorance in approaching it. So I think the karma is more reduced by our understanding, our realizations we get towards a devotee. I remember during COVID, somehow I got this, I don't know, it's mystical, this rheumatoid arthritis or whatever it is, my body to stiffen up. And I just said, okay, hey, this is it. The game is on. I just got a message from one of my godbrothers, one of my closest friends, Partha Sadanti Goswami. And we had a cancer operation, and he had to leave Brudge the last time I saw him. Maybe right after COVID or something. And he had that, and then he went back and he had ticolitis. What's that? You never pronounce that. What's it called? It's something with your intestines. Ticolitis, something. It's something. And he had that, and he was always in so much pain for that. And they operated on him. And now he was going to come back to Brudge, and he really does the deepest bhajan to Brudge. And he wrote me today that somehow it didn't work. Now the pain has come back. Doctors say the only thing they can do for the pain is give him painkillers, and the painkillers are not working. And the only thing they can do maybe is give him morphine, something. And he told me he's remembering the Dhammakana wouldn't take drugs at all. So he's so hesitant. I've got the connection, but he can easily be made. What? Anyway, that's my understanding. It's lessened because, in one sense, according to you, learning the lesson by yourself, in turn of, if you learn the lesson by yourself, then why does Krishna have to give you that experience? But I really think the way it's reduced is the way to a devotee digests it and understands it. And I know I was experiencing it. I got sick, and it's so unusual for me, and I couldn't put on my socks. I couldn't lift my shirt over my head. I couldn't sleep in a bed for like 6, 7, 5 months. But, by Krishna consciousness, I said, Sadhu Mene, I think this is good. That's all. If it's good, it's just another way of surrendering to Krishna. So, anyway, that's what I'm doing about karma. And then in my Monday morning greeting, it's nice to speak, and I talk about how to develop a good mind. And the mind is composed of 2 types of thought: Krishna vritti, troubling, or Krishna vritti, good thoughts are not troubling thoughts. And bad thoughts are, I'm attached to things that are not good for us, reverse things that are good for us. Good thoughts, I'm attached to things that are good for us, and reverse things that are bad for us. So when your mind becomes more imbued with good thoughts, because good thoughts elevate the consciousness, elevate that perception. And when that's done, when the thoughts are elevated, the way to change the mind is by good ideas. The good ideas come from the Shastra. And we have good ideas about promoting good thoughts. The thoughts actually begin to manifest in your mind, and you change now, in terms of our comes back, it's pretty easy to remember this now. It's okay. It's dangerous in the Naralila and the human-like pastime. Dangerous. Taking out of the dangerous catatonic state of separation from the gopis by taking him unconsciously to do Vrindavan outside of Dwarka and convincing him, because it's a replica of Vrindavan, that he's the real Vrindavan, and then his separation will be revealed, and then we can tell him actually Dwarka and things. So he awakens that he's in Dwarka. It's done very expertly by Lord Brahma. He comes back, and the queens are waiting, and then he asks, where is Satyabhama? There's Satyabhama in the, and this is really, I was reading this morning, and this is really where you have to have transcendental vision, because it talks about Krishna's conjugal love. He likes the contrary love, and that Satyabhama knows how to please him by this contrary love. Krishna's expert, because it's talking about something that's here, so we tend to judge that by what our experience is here. But and then it looks very, very mundane when you hear and read it, but it's really transcendental and spiritual. So Padmavati, who has a very interesting role, these contrarian, I don't know, person, these I can't use language, it's not slang. Anyway, I'm coming up with many slang terms to describe Padmavati. Okay, I'll say it in a nice way. She's a real pain in the ass. Real pain in the ass. And envious, but serves the Leela, because she says, look, and he said to the queens, look, you girls are nothing. Forget it. Give up your hope of being the apple of the eye of Krishna. He's attached, and then really, like this really nudges it in. You see this hand movement when someone just screwed it in. And she just goes, not only that, but these Ambira nomad girls, you got defeated, you big queens, by just these low-class village girls he's so attached to. But then the queens, they have no envy. So they start, and they're so chaste, and they start to defend Krishna. They start to defend Krishna. No, he's absolutely, and not only defend Krishna, but again, I always look at this from the genius of Sanatana Goswami. They're going to glorify the gopis. They're going to tell Krishna, why the gopis are so good, because we're attached to our duties, our rituals, but they're only attached to Krishna. And of course, what was the gopis? I tell you, when you take sannyas, it's the gopi bhav mantra. And I explained many times, why is that so apropos for sannyas? Because the greatest renunciants are the gopis. Chakpaturnam Shesha Mandalapati Shrenim Sada Tuchavat Bhutva Dina Ganesha Kau Karunaya Kopina Kampastrital Gopi Baba Rasamnata Dalihari Kalola Magnur Muhur Vande Rupa Sanatano Raguya Gosi Jiva Gopa Chakpaturnam. Say they kicked off everything as insignificant. Talking about the 6 Goswamis, but it certainly can apply to the gopis. They kicked off everything as completely insignificant. So the Queens of Talk is saying, we're attached to our duties. They kicked it all off. They kicked it all off as insignificant. So they start to defend. And how they're defending. And that's what they're defending is, I'm not upset that we're not as good as the gopis, because it's true. And then even Devaki says, I performed many austerities in my past life because I wanted a son like God. And Mother Yasoda just wanted to love God. And her and her household and all these people, they're so much superior to us. And then my favorite part of the story, Satyabhama. Do you want to know why I love the gopis? I'll tell you why I love the gopis. Because then finally, Satyabhama, that conjugal thing, it's kind of in her bob, but it's really just to please Krishna. It's just to please Krishna. So, but now she's a little concerned that she may have crossed the red line. I know in Brooklyn, the red line was to talk about someone's mother. You talk about my mother? Well, you may curse the guy, you may do anything, but don't talk about his mother. You talk about my mother? So there's a red line there, grudge. Don't denigrate the gopis. And now we'll be up to the part that we'll read Sunday. This is the best part. I love this part, where Krishna is going to lace into Satyabhama and tell him why the gopis are the highest. And not only tell him why the gopis are the highest, telling him why he couldn't go back, even though he loves them so much. So stay tuned. Let's see how many minutes I got to talk today. So, well, we'll go for the questions now. Jamuna Jaya.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah. Okay.
I really appreciated that Padmati being a pain in the where has a purpose, because it really made me think that the things in our lives, even though they may seem like a pain in the where, they have a purpose because they're sent from Krishna. And if we view them in that way, and I really sort of appreciated that. She seems like such a jerk, but she has a purpose, and maybe the things in our own lives that are troublesome, they actually have a purpose.
Wow, so you're now saying it's karma and Krishna Lila. Defeated my whole thesis. Okay. All right. No, it's good. It's a good point. Um uh Gail, you have some questions? Is she there today?
It doesn't look like she's there.
Oh my God, tell Gail I ended a half hour early just so she could speak our questions, her delight. Okay, well, let me see if I can talk about something else. Um, okay, I just got the Prabhupada Tributes book, and I have an offering in there. And uh, I'll tell you, the basic of it was I was in 19, maybe 78, 79. I was asked to go and invite some of the senior people in Braj who knew Prabhupada to come to Prabhupada's disappearance festival, something like that. It could have been anywhere 5 years after Prabhupada left. So I visited Śrīla Dhanurdhara Maharaj and went there and, offered, asked him if he would come and gave an invitation. Um, and then some very interesting things. I said, you should come because you knew Prabhupada. He said, I didn't know Prabhupada. If I knew Prabhupada, he said, like you're before the deities. If you're talking, can you say you know Krishna? Can you say you know Krishna is there? So I didn't know Prabhupada. In other words, like I didn't see him in that way. I was too familiar. Um, and then I tried another way. I said, well, maybe you could speak about the things in Prabhupada that you saw then that would indicate what he would become in the future. And then he started to think. And the first thing he said was that Prabhupada was very bold. And then he gave three examples. Prabhupada wrote two essays in a letter. The first essay is called The Murky Mission, the Chicken Mission. And Prabhupada wrote a satire on the Ram Krishna mission because they were like the competing thing of the Gaudiya Math, but they would serve meat, they would serve chicken. So Prabhupada made a spoof on it called the Murky mission. Murky means chicken in India. And then the other thing was he made a spoof on the Gaudiya Math. After Bhaktisiddhanta left, then people were fighting over the rooms. Even during Bhaktisiddhanta, they were fighting over the rooms. So it was a spoof on a sannyasi in the Gaudiya Math called Bhojan Vilas, a form of material enjoyment. And then he talked about the letter that Prabhupada wrote to blasting the president of India. So that was kind of interesting. And then the other thing he said, and I said this many times, is he said Prabhupada's ability to relate. And he described three types of main relationships that you have: to a superior, to an equal, and to a junior. He said, so Prabhupada to a superior was extremely respectful. We can understand Prabhupada was extremely aristocratic, beyond devotion qualifications, just by his culture. And he said a friend, he was very collegial, and he was very, very affectionate. His Prabhupada had a tremendous ability to relate. So I thought about that, and I thought, well, what is the quality I see in Prabhupada that I would say, I called it, makes him Prabhupada. And I thought more than anything else was the depth of Prabhupada's realization. And realization means, as Prabhupada said in the Bhagavatam, the ability to communicate. Because communication takes a depth of understanding of something. Because you have to reform the language and culture in which you've heard something and communicate it perhaps in a completely different language or culture, even if it technically is in the same vernacular. So I thought that that was really Prabhupada's glory, his ability to communicate. Okay, now a little travel log here on my way. Main man Jack's driving me to the airport today, and going to visit Lakshmi Shringa. He's organized a really nice program over the weekend, and it's appointments for people to meet me. And it's kind of, I told you, I'm in a little bit of a new karmic period. I can feel the influences after 72 years. I'm in a different house, astrology and how that works. But it's good for going internal, but it also, anyway, it's Moon in Mars, so it goes internal, and Mars gives energy. So I really have energy to. So, and it's the opportunities are there. Yeah. Okay, 1 second. Okay, I think it's going to be a little shorter today because I don't have the book with me, but I was able to get something. But if anybody wants to say hello, they can say hello.
Hare Krishna, Gumaraj, Tota Gopinath here. Safe travels.
Thanks, Tota. Thanks.
Haribo.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Krishnamrita. Thank you so much. It's so interesting to listen about Narayana Maharaj and all these times about Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Wow, Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, I was in Vrindavan in 77. Prabhupada spent a lot of time before he was to leave the world. He withdrew from the world externally very, very much. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Say hello.
Hare Krishna, Govinda.
And Broja, thanks for class.
Thanks for class.
Okay, Haribo.
Haribo.
Okay, Haribo. Anybody
travel.
else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, is Gopi Gita. Thank you for class.
Okay, Gopi. See you next month. Haribo. Okay.
Haribo.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Gurudev. Tavat Sundari is here. Thank you very
steady.
much for the class.
Thank you so much for coming all the classes. Great. Okay.
Thank you.
And I hope you get that teaching position in Canada. But we'll see what happens.
I got it on Maharaj, but they don't let me to go. That's the problem in my university.
Oh, they won't let you go from your country.
Yeah, I got that last year from Canada, but the problem is my country. But I hope that it's going to be sorted.
Okay. Anybody else?
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, it's Yvette. Thank you so much for class.
Great to see you, Yvette. Haribo.
You too. Haribo.
On September 8th.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Haribo.
Arman, Haribo.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for class. Hare Krishna. Haribo.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Haribo.
On September 8th in New York City at Adi Baruch's new place. I heard it's very nice. At 1:45, we're going to have our Metro Mantra Sanga Radhastami festival. We'll glorify Radharani. And then it's Wednesday. So let's see what happens. Okay. That's the 8th. Yeah, okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Nice to see you. Thank you for the class.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Shri Rupa. Safe travels. I hope to see you in Florida.
Yeah, I gave you all the information, right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, and it's going to be indoors, so we don't have to worry about the weather. It's too hot, and it could also rain, so I'm pretty excited about that. And September 8th, right? That's going to be exciting, right?
Yes, it's going to be wonderful.
Okay, let me know what ideas you have, okay?
I will, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. This is Kamala.
Amma, so great to see you in Moscow. Even though, yeah, you're just visiting at that time. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to look at the list of the people